You know, these problems will be solved because there's a good buck to be made from it, you know, so people will solve it. I said that in 1971. It hasn't been solved yet, you know, so I was quite wrong. You know, the world has still not caught up to the ecological damage that's occurred.
So my dad, Doug Randle, had an album come out in 1971 called Songs for the New Industrial State. And Imogen's been working on a reimagining of that music.
I started dance when I was, I think, like 2 years old or something, in just a movement class, just pretend you're a leaf and fall. And I stayed in dance until I was 16. I left dance because performing is really, really hard for me. But I've always been attracted to performing arts specifically. I think my entryway into music was more R&B. I've always said that I'm attracted to anything if it has underlying jazz aspects. So even if it's pop, even if it's alternative, whatever it is, it always has some sort of a jazz feel. This album is called When They Start Rebelling. That's actually a quote taken from the liner notes of the original album. It said, when they start rebelling, so-and-so will happen. And as soon as I heard when they start rebelling, I just immediately was like, when they start rebelling, yeah. In those original liner notes, he thought there was a time that they, as in just the general population, would start rebelling. And it hasn't really happened to the extent that it needs to.
This is Imogen's great-great-grandmother. It's a self-portrait that she did in her 20s. Imogen and I kind of had the idea at the exact same time to use it as the basis for the album cover.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we were on the phone and we were trying to talk through notes, and I had a bunch of notes. And I was like, I don't even know where to start with this. And then one of the notes that I had was about the water and in the original edit. And then my mom said, oh, well, what you're describing kind of sounds like the portrait of Kathleen Moon. And we both just kind of went, wait. So my involvement with Cellar, it didn't start initially in my music career. It started after I released my first EP. It was kind of in the midst of COVID, so we were all kind of still in lockdown times. Cory kind of found the EP and saw some potential in it. He reached out and kind of asked if I wanted a career in music, and I said, yeah. Nothing would have happened in this project if it wasn't for the involvement of Cellar, for sure. Not only was I immediately overwhelmed with excitement when Cory saw potential in me, but then when he involved a full team with Scott as well, you know? And then trying to get me set up with producers. And then we got the grant from Canada Council, which opened 1,000 other doors. And I got an email, and I was kind of just in the middle of some stress. I don't know what it was, but I was in the middle of some sort of stress. I said, oh, Cory texted again. I don't know what's going on. He said maybe he can get the Dab Kings. And my mom went, what? Are you kidding? Like, there's no way. This has to be a joke. And then sure enough, within a week, they had agreed. We went to New York to record both times. We went to New York twice to record. The first time was just the instrumentals, the backing tracks, and the second time was all the vocals. So the first time I was sitting in studio, I could make the requests that I needed to make. I was, always consulted, which I really appreciated. Ian was always asking me, do you like the direction of this? Do you like how these people are playing? And so yeah, we got to be in studio for all of the recording process. The mixes we were there for, he was doing them as we were recording all the vocals. So, I would be exhausted and being like, my throat hurts, I'm going to bed. And he'd be like, okay, I'll be up for another 4 hours. Don't you worry, you rest. And he would be mixing away. The musicians were Nick Movshon, Homer Steinweiss, Tommy Brenneck, Adam Scone, Dave Guy, and of course Ian Hendrickson-Smith, who was the producer as well, and did so much work on horns. So yeah, it was really great that we got to see that whole experience and meet all the guys as well. That was really cool. It wasn't very difficult to turn it into a jazz album. His writing was jazz. It was just recorded in a different style. He, as a composer, was a jazz composer. And that shines through. If you look at the charts and you see how everything's laid out and you see how he wrote them, everything about this was already jazz. It was just a case of recording it in the right way and getting the right people involved and getting people to see the potential that it had as a jazz record.
Some guys got a devil or two driving them to the action, but I'm content just killing time, watching the trout leaping over the Nicholston Dam. Oh, see the pretty rainbows.
I just wanted to say thank you to Cellar Music, to Canada Council, to Factor, and to Ian Hendrickson-Smith. And down, thanks.
Don't know what's wrong with myself, I should get up and go.